On India's west coast, one district feeds the world's cashews, ships its iron ore, and now empties its beaches into travel brochures. While its more famous northern twin gets all the postcards. This is South Goa. Most people picture Goa as one single place. It never has been. In 1987, the year Goa left Union Territory status and became a full Indian state, it was split down the middle, and the southern half quietly inherited the region's working port, its biggest waterfall, and its quietest sand. Here's the surprising part. One of India's tallest waterfalls, Dudhsagar, thunders through this district's forests, and most visitors to Goa never even learn its name. Over the next few minutes, we'll cover where South Goa actually sits, how it was carved out, the history still standing in its churches and temples, and the beaches, forests, and food that make it worth the detour south of the river. South Goa sits along the Arabian Sea, in the southern half of Goa state, with Karnataka forming its eastern and southern border, and North Goa district just across the Zuari River to the north. The district covers 1,966 square kilometers and is home to 6,40,537 people, according to the 2011 census, a population density of 326 people per square kilometer. Goa's only airport at Dabolim actually sits inside South Goa, in Mormugao Taluka, not in the north at all. The land itself changes fast as you move inland. Flat coastal plains and river estuaries near the sea, rising into laterite plateaus, and then the forested foothills of the Western Ghats, where the district shares a long, hilly border with Karnataka. South Goa was carved out on the 30th of May, 1987. The same day, Goa left behind its Union Territory status and became India's 25th state. Until then, the whole territory had been governed as one unit. Splitting it into North and South Goa districts made local administration easier across such different terrain. South Goa is organized into 7 taluks: Salsete, Mormugao, Ponda, Quepem, Canacona, Sangwem, and Dharbandora, grouped under 5 subdivisions. Its headquarters is Margao, still sometimes called by its older name Madgaon. Goa's second largest town, and its commercial heart, built around a market that has traded rice, cashew, and fish for generations. Vasco da Gama, the port town in Mormugao Taluka, anchors the district's other identity, an industrial working harbour city rather than a tourist trip. The story here starts in 1510, when Afonso de Albuquerque's Portuguese fleet seized Goa from the Bijapur Sultanate. Salsete, the taluk that includes Margao, became part of what the Portuguese called the Velhas Conquistas, the Old Conquests, and stayed under direct colonial rule for over 4 centuries. The inland taluks, Ponda, Quepem, Canacona, Sangwem, and Dharbandora, were only added later, through the 1700s, as the Novas Conquistas, the new conquests. That difference still shows on the ground today. When the Portuguese Inquisition targeted Hindu temples along the coast, priests carried their deities inland to safety, which is why the Sri Mangeshi temple stands today in Ponda, in the new conquests, rather than at its original site nearer the coast. Near Margao, the Rachol Seminary, built by the Jesuits in the early 1600s and still training priests today, is remembered as one of the oldest seminaries in Asia, and a reminder of how much of this district's history was written by the church as much as by any king. For most of the 20th century, South Goa ran on 3 things: cashew, fish, and ore. Goa is the world's largest processor of cashew, and much of that trade still moves through Margao's markets, alongside rice and coconut. Roughly 3,000 fishing boats and 40,000 fishermen work these waters, landing over 170 species of fish and shellfish between them. Mormugao Port, on South Goa's coast, was once one of India's busiest iron ore and bauxite export harbours, until a mining ban in 2012 reshaped the local economy almost overnight. Tourism has filled much of that gap since. It now contributes roughly 16% of the state's entire GDP. And South Goa's beaches, quieter and far less crowded than the north, are where that growth is happening fastest. Even the old Comunidade system, Goa's centuries-old form of village-owned communal farmland, still quietly manages paddy fields and coconut groves across many of these villages, a holdover from long before either mining or tourism arrived. Life here runs in Konkani, and in a rhythm few outsiders ever notice. Churches and temples share the same skyline, often the very same street. Villages still stage Zagor, an all-night vigil of song, dance and theatre. And theatre, Goa's own musical stage drama, still fills halls in Margao most weekends. The calendar mixes Shigmo, the Hindu spring festival, with Saujao, where young men leap into wells to mark the start of the monsoon, and with Christmas and Carnival in the old church towns nearby. On the table, it's rice with fish curry, shit kodi in Konkani, built on coconut, chili and vinegar, and finished, more often than not, with a small glass of feni, distilled from cashew apples or coconut sap, a drink now recognized as distinctly Goan enough to carry its own protected regional tag. South Goa has produced more than its share of leaders and voices. Digambar Kamat, born in Margao, served 2 terms as Goa's chief minister. Pramod Sawant, the current chief minister, was born in Chandor. That same village also gave Goa 2 of its sharpest anti-colonial voices. Tristão de Bragança Cunha, often called the father of Goan nationalism, and Luís de Menezes Bragança, journalist and owner of the Bragança House Library. Margao raised Chris Perry, the trumpeter who fused jazz with Konkani folk music, and Palolem gave Goa the surgeon and freedom movement figure Pundalik Gaitonde. Between politics, journalism and music, this one district's small towns have shaped a disproportionate share of modern Goa's public life. Start with Palolem, a curved palm-lined beach in Canacona, often called Goa's most photogenic stretch of sand. Nearby, Cabo de Rama's cliff-top Portuguese fort looks straight out over the open Arabian Sea. Inland, Cotigao Wildlife Sanctuary protects 86 square kilometers of forest, home to giant squirrels and, reportedly, a black panther. Further into the western Ghats, Dudhsagar Falls drops water down a sheer granite cliff face, straight across the Goa-Karnataka border, one of India's tallest waterfalls. Back on the coast, Kolva and Bogmalo offer a calmer, more local beach life, while in Chandor, the Bragança House still holds the largest private library in Goa behind its faded colonial facade. And in Ponda, the Sri Mangeshi Temple's tall lamp tower has drawn pilgrims for centuries. For something quieter still, the Netravali Wildlife Sanctuary in Sangam hides a natural bubbling lake, where gas escaping from the lake bed makes the water look like it's simmering. From cashew orchards and a working port to an Inquisition-era history and some of India's quietest beaches. That's South Goa, the half of Goa that rarely makes the postcards but does most of the work. Have you been? Comment your district below and we'll cover it next.